So on Friday, I made a post on LinkedIn about how there's such an information gap between broadcasters, streamers, and writers and producers. The people that come in to pitch, they often come in with an idea that they're really, really passionate about and that they probably haven't seen on TV before or would love to see on TV. And the broadcasters and streamers have sort of specific remits. They've got a certain amount of money, a certain amount of slots, and they also have a bird's eye view across the entire slate. So they know what they have coming up, they know what's in development, they know what's in production. That information isn't always privy. We didn't often announce programs until they were a couple of weeks out or a month out, depending on how much anticipation we wanted to build. So there'd be a lot of titles you'd be sitting on, and the wider TV industry wouldn't know about them. I think the most frustrating bit of feedback that most writers receive are the words "not for us" or "we've got something similar." I call bullshit on that because I don't think that's adequate feedback. I think "not for us," you need to specify. If you're a youth channel and I've got young people in my script and I think I'm talking to your audience, not for us isn't good enough as feedback. You've got to tell me exactly where it went off the rails. Was I too focused on one character over another? Was I trying to do teen romance, but it didn't have any chemistry or spark? Was I trying to do drama that didn't have any tension? Like, really tell me where it was that it didn't go well. The other thing is, oh, we've already got something like that on the slate. We've already got something like that in development. That's all very well and good, but what broadcasters and streamers need to be honest about is how close those other projects are to really crossing the line. Because there have been times when writers have been told, oh, yeah, we've got something really similar at the moment. And they've never seen that similar thing see the light of day. They still look out for that program with this set of friend characters who go through these types of adventures and these types of pickles, or who have these types of other adults in their lives. And they don't see that similar show make it to air. And that's tough because it's either the broadcaster saying, well, if that didn't get all the way across the line, if that fell apart in development for whatever reason, an actor became unavailable, a director became unavailable, the budget ballooned and fell outside of tariff, we'll never know if those technical reasons were the reasons it didn't make it to air, or if that subject matter was it audience tested, did it not rate internally, is that where it flopped? And I think there's so much information you learn being inside of a broadcaster. I mean, I certainly did, 20 years in the game, 10 years as a senior leader, greenlighting shows, so spending thousands of pounds on development and millions of pounds on programs. I definitely know that when I sat in a development meeting or in a pitch meeting with a writer, producer, agent, whoever, I wasn't just listening to the pitch. I wasn't just looking at the story that was in front of me. I was always thinking about my audience, thinking about the end user. Is it suitable? Is it similar? Will we be able to afford it? What can I pair it with? What slot can I give it? Will it complement going out after or before the news? Should I put it next to that other thing that's similar so you have a nice cozy hour of two programs going out that are similar? These are all the considerations that were kind of running through my mind while I was being pitched to. The other thing that broadcasters don't really admit to is we have whole teams called audience and insight, and those audience and insight teams send us a Excel spreadsheet weekly of all the intel they've gathered on our program. So they'll give you an autopsy on your show after it's gone out. What worked, what didn't work, what were the verbatims coming out of focus groups, what were the press saying about it, what did we pick up on Twitter about it, what were people saying about it, did anyone share clips from it when we release clips? All of this goes into our decision making process. If we think a show has the potential for some virality before, during, or after broadcast, making sure that we build in a digital, social first campaign to help push the show out giving the actors footage so that they can go out to their channels and push the show out. This is all bleeding obvious, non groundbreaking stuff, I know. However, you'll be surprised how many broadcasters look at the social piece and the clip piece and can we get our actors really being ambassadors for this show and for this launch. You'll be so surprised at how little that happens. It's really a model that happens in the film industry, not often in the TV industry. I get it. The economies of scale are different, the budgets are different. Some films actually write in marketing participation into actors' contracts. So I get that it's not even about enthusiasm and being genuinely excited about the project. Sometimes there is a gun to your head, called a contract, which is why you're on that junket wearing that fabulous dress talking about the film. So I get it. But I think there are so many tricks that TV can take from the digital world as well as from the film world, such as utilizing influencers, utilizing short form clips, utilizing the star power of our actors. Sometimes it's really exciting when you break a new actor. Look at the young lad from Adolescence. You know, nobody knew who he was before, but in the last 6 months, if he ran to Instagram to talk about this exciting new thing he's in, I think that will get quite a few 100,000 views and clicks and likes, and that anticipation will then grow. And I think just having faith in, if you book somebody that has a huge following, trying to leverage and utilize that in some way. But even more excitingly, if you're launching somebody, if you're taking a chance on somebody who hasn't got a big following or a big name, that can be exciting too. People like feeling like they're getting on the ground floor of something, like the grassroots of something, you know? And I think I've heard stories about people trying to write books and not getting much traction because they don't have a following, or people being booked on shows because they do have a following. I think that is so cynical and so anti art. I think you cast people that are right for the cast. You take a chance on a book because that story is compelling and hasn't been told in that way before. And if they come with no following whatsoever, you should be proud and excited about being on the journey of building that. And if they do come with a following, you should find a non gross transactional way of leveraging that so that it kind of meets in the middle and becomes more of a mutual enterprise. You know, I think people really forget that film and TV in particular, is really, really collaborative. I think we're getting that individualism that the wider society is afflicted with, that's crept into our industry. And it's a real shame because you need everyone pulling together, doing their bit, delivering on what their job description says, and then some, you know? It just drives me nuts that there are writers who are writing, writers are told, write from what you know. And they're writing from their passion or from what they know. And they think there's something really compelling in their story. And they're probably right, but that is only half of the battle. The main thing is, why would anyone care? You know, I come from a really interesting family. There were 7 of us. We outnumbered mum, but mum was really formidable. And this happened and that happened. That sounds fabulous. Why would anyone give a shit? Finding a way to make it relatable, finding a way to pull one of the siblings to the front because they have this type of personality, or finding a way to showcase the resiliency, the strength, or the crumble of mum, um, to show that these situations can be relatable to other people. That for me is what people should be doing when they're developing on their own in the dark. Thinking not just about what am I passionate about, what do I know about this subject, but why would a stranger care? If I sparked a conversation with a stranger at the bus stop, would they care about this story that I'm trying to tell? And if you can find a yes in that, then it's ready to be shared around. And I think if you're a producer and you've made scripted TV before, you need to share all of your learnings, your wins, and your fails with that new writer that you're working with on this current project. And if you're a commissioner or somebody that gives green lights, you should be able to articulate all the ways in which that show was interesting enough for you to have called them in for the meeting. And if it doesn't go past that meeting, really fully explain why that is. If it doesn't pass the internal conversation you have after the meeting, really explain why that is. I think not for us, we've got something similar. That doesn't feel good enough. I think telling people, you know what it was really saggy in your second act. I just feel like if you can't get the pilot right, you'll probably struggle writing the other 5 episodes to get your full 6 episode series run. Maybe have another go at your pilot and make sure you really beef it up and give us everything we need, the character, the world, the beginning of a journey that we're going to explore over 6 episodes. If you can really nail that, then I'd be happy to meet with you again. But just a blunt, nah, not for us. I just don't think that's good enough. And I don't think that it contributes to the forward motion that we need in our industry. Everything is stalled, everything is stagnated. Survive till 25 did not happen. We're in the middle of 26 right now. And I know freelancers who've been out of work for 11, 12, 18 months. Some of them have taken secondary jobs that they can easily drop to come back when the industry comes back. And some of them have taken jobs that are borderline vocational, and therefore I know they're never coming back. And that's a real shame. And I've watched over the last year, ever since I stopped working at broadcasters and started working directly with writers and agents and producers and entities such as Oka and Climate Spring and BAFTA and BFI. There's a real need for community and collaboration and the sharing of information out there. And I am trying my utmost to do my part in that. I launched a community for writers so that I could share some knowledge with them. I thought 20 or 30 people would turn up, and to be perfectly honest, that would have been really respectable for me. Nearly 60 turned up within the first week, and I'm now at just under 170. I launched in Jan, it's now May. So that really told me the need there is out there for writers to be in community. So I've left all my links below. If you want to join a community, my community is right there for you. This post isn't about selling you anything. This post isn't about lobbying something your way. This post is just to let you know that there are some people who have been in senior leadership, who have been in a role of giving green lights and spending money on programs, who have seen it stall, who have seen the frustrations, who've listened to and witnessed firsthand people that have just given up and left the industry altogether. And I'm just here to say there are a few of us out here who are trying our best to share information, be visible, um, get themselves a phone, a tripod set up, one of these mics, and just get on the internet and start yapping. And are here for your questions. Drop a question below. I read and answer each and every one. Um, Follow me on socials. I pass along information about competitions and call outs and all kinds of interesting things that are going on in our industry. And I have been hearing through the frustrations and through the conversations I've had with writers that the secret source to what they need to do to pitch isn't always readily made available. So I've created courses around that. I'm sweating. It's so hot today. Oh my God, bank holiday May. Oh, I'll never complain about the weather again. Um, I've created courses. I've created a couple of free guides, one on log lines and one on what you need to get ready before you pitch. I've created some paid courses, one about how to write the perfect treatment within an hour, and one about how to build the perfect pitch deck within a day. I've really boiled down everything I would be looking for as a former senior leader, what I would be looking for from a pitch. I've boiled that all down into my pitch deck build day course. If you're interested, all my links are below, but this is not the point of the post. The point of the post was the fact that on Friday, I made a post on LinkedIn acknowledging the frustration that writers and creators are feeling out there. And somebody jumped into my comments and kind of reiterated and reinforced everything I suspected. And I just want writers out there to know, whether you're based in the UK, US, Canada, anywhere English speaking, I want you to hear me and hear me well. There are people out here who are ready and willing and able to share knowledge, to point you in the right direction, to give you a pointer on your deck. There are people who are out here writing 40-page pitch decks. You don't have to do all of that. There are people that are writing long form synopses and thinking that's a treatment. You don't have to do that. Talk to people who know, talk to people who can help, and join a community. That's really the best I can say. Like minded people, some very experienced, some completely new and clueless, all helping each other, all chiming in the comments. And it's a really lovely space. I personally allow people into the community, and I'll personally remove anyone from the community who isn't good vibes and positivity. So it's a very safe space, algorithm free, politics free, bullshit free. It's just a space for artists and writers and people who love film and TV. So join us. And yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to hop on here. It's a beautiful day on Bank Holiday Sunday. I'm far too hot to leave the house and go and do anything. I have one fan, two fans going in here. Um, and it's been a good day for me to kind of collate my thoughts and batch create some content. But I did want to hop on here just to address the fact that I know there's a lot of writers that are struggling out there. I'm doing my absolute best to provide resources. I'm not the only one. I follow a lot of other people who are also doing the same. I've made sure that my algorithm has been trained to bring me the best and brightest people talking about the stuff that we all need to be talking about. And I cross post and reshare all of that stuff. So if you follow me, you're de facto following them as well, because I like sharing information. You don't have to follow me to get the news that I have to share. You can follow any one of us, but I just want you to know that I am trying to create a space where writers, creators, storytellers can come in an age of AI slop. This is where you come to be your most real, your most human, and share the most emotional side of yourself, because from here and using this, that's how we really win. That's how we beat the bots, and that's how we beat the robots, and that's how we stay grounded in our humanity. So rant over. I mean, it wasn't really a rant, it was more of a sermon because it is Sunday. Anyway, I hope to see you in the community. If not, check out one of my courses. If not, check out one of my freebies. Just don't sit there developing in the dark, feeling your way through this industry alone. You don't have to be alone. There's loads of us out here, and we're really nice. See you later. See you in the next one.